Hi, welcome to Sew on Wednesday. I'm so excited. I'm starting on my project bag. I got it all cut out and I'm ready to start sewing. So I'm kind of going to give you a little bit of a little rundown on what I've done. I've sewn this piece together, and this little panel I needed to be 6.5 inches down by 4.5 inches across. And then I sewed 9 2.5 inch squares together. And with this together, sewn all together, the squares and this little panel, embroidery panel I did, is 6.5 inches this way and 10.5 inches this way. So anyway, so that's what I'm starting with the front. 6.5 by 10.5, and then for the lining I'm going to use this little yellow fabric, which I think is adorable. It's got little lemons on it, and this I cut just a little bit larger than my front, so I cut this 11 by 7.5. Okay, so it's a little bit larger. Then I've got a piece of batting here that I'm going to need, and I cut this the same as the lining, 11 by 7.5. Okay. Now, I need 3 more pieces of fabric, or actually 2 pieces of fabric and 1 batting. I cut 2 11-inch squares. This is for my lining also. And this is going to be for the back part of my bag. And this is 11-inch square too. And then I cut 1 piece of batting, this 11-inch. So that's all the fabric and batting we need to make this project. Now I've got a 14-inch zipper here I'm going to use, and I've got my binding that I'm going to use, my bias tape. So anyway, what I'm going to do first, I'm going to take the front here and my lining, and I'm just going to lay them right sides together. Let me move this out of the way. Right sides together. So I'm just working on the front of the project bag right now. And I'm just going to pin this up at the top to hold it down while I stitch it. I'm going to do a 1/4 of an inch stitch across the top here. So when I open it up, it's going to be like that. Okay, looks good. All right, I'll be right back. Okay, I sewed these 2 pieces together. Should be looking like this. And then I went over to my iron and pressed the seam open real nicely. Now I'm going to take this piece that I've cut out, the 11 by 7.5, and I'm just going to kind of lay this batting here, sandwich it in between the front and the lining, like so. Let's fold it over. Let me flip it over this way. This would be better to do it this way. Okay. Let's get that right on that seam there. And fold this over. Like that. And this is going to be a little bit larger because I cut it larger. And I'm going to go over to the iron. I'm going to press this down. That's the lining. And this is the front here. I'm going to press this down along that seam right there. And then I'm going to go to my sewing machine and do a few quilting stitches along the squares just to attach the batting to the lining and to the front here and make it all pretty. On this one right here, actually just stitched in the ditch around the squares. So I may do the same with this one too. I'll see. I'll surprise you. I'll be right back. Off to the sewing machine I go. forgot to tell you one thing. Before I go sew the batting, you need to pin multiple pins all over this to keep the batting flat and everything lined up. So I just wanted to show you that really quick. Now going to the sewing machine. I'll be back. Okay, I've got this quilted. I did little squares inside each square. I think it turned out really cute that way. So next, after I get all these threads off, that's gonna be so cute. Let's take these two pieces. These are the 11-inch squares here. And what we're gonna do is put the right sides together. Like so. And I'm just going to stitch along the top here, 1/4 of an inch, and I'll be right back. Okay, these are two pieces sewn together here. And I pressed it open, the seam. Now I'm going to put this batting in between these two, like this, just sandwich it in there like that. And then I'm going to fold this down like this. Okay, remember this is the inside, this is the lining, and this is going to be the outside and the top edge. So I'm going to put some pins in this to keep it from moving around, because we're fixing to put the zipper on here. Okay. Okay, got that all pinned. Next I'm going to get my zipper here, and I'm going to, this is my outside piece for my back. So I'm going to put my zipper in. Let me just turn it this way. Leave some zipper hanging over each side. I've got like 1 inch on each side hanging over. And what I want to do, I'm going to go over to the sewing machine, and I'm going to sew just a running stitch along the edge here to catch that zipper. Let me put a few pins in here just to secure it. Are we having fun yet? Yes, we are. We are. This is going to be so cute. Okay, I'm going to do that. Then I'm going to take my front here and line it up. After I sew this along the edge, I'm going to take my front and do the same thing on the other side of this zipper. Line this up and just sew along the edge here too. Oh, that's my iron you hear. It's fixing to turn itself off. It's a beeping. So anyway, let me put a few pins in here too. Well, I'll tell you what, I'm not going to pin this. I'm going to sew this first. Then after I get that sewn, I'll pin this on and sew this, and I'll be right back. Okay, you guys, I've got this sewn on there. And now I'm going to sew this part on along the zipper and kind of line it up. Kind of, you really need to line it up. I haven't trimmed this yet. I'm going to wait till I get the zipper all on here attached, and then I'll trim it all up. Alrighty. And this is going to fold like this, so you get a kind of a visual where we're going with this. This is the inside lining. This is going to fold over like that. And this is going to be the front like that. Alright, so I'm going to the sewing machine, and now I'm just going to sew along the edge along here and attach this front to the zipper. And I'll be right back. Okay, I've got that sewn on. Let's get rid of some of these threads here. I went on ahead and put a seam down the side, on this side and on the back here, just to keep the pieces together. And I want to remove these pins here. Cut some more threads. That's one thing about sewing, you've got to deal with a lot of threads. It's constant. All right, let's see what we got here. To do any kind of quilting and working with batting, you really need a walking foot, and I've got one on order, but see what I did over here? It puckered because I didn't have a walking foot on my sewing machine. I just had a regular foot, and it can pucker. So a walking foot would be best. So when I get one, I'll use it. It didn't come with my sewing machine. So anyway, I gotta use what I've got. So I think it'll be okay. All right, so now I'm going to trim this all up. I want to open this zipper up so it'll be like right here. Well, first let's close this back. I want to trim this up before I open that zipper up. Let's line it all up here. I have got a lot of trimming to do. Let me just start off by cutting this off right here. This bag may turn out a little bit smaller than my other bag because I'm having to trim off quite a bit. Let me see. These little project bags are so cute, and they come in handy too. I went and saw my son yesterday. He lives a little ways off, and so I used my other bag I just made, the first one. I put my my little mini hoop, embroidery hoop in it, and my embroidery thread, and my little travel scissors, just in case I was going to be there a while, and my little grandbaby, I was going to see my little grandbaby, and he takes a nap sometimes, and if he takes a nap while Grandma's there, it's like 2 hours. So I thought, what am I going to do for 2 hours if he goes to sleep? So anyway, I brought my embroidery along, and I used my little project bag to carry my stuff in, and it fit perfect because there was a small hoop I put in there, so it worked out fine. That was the first time I actually used it because I just got it finished a couple of weeks ago. So anyway, let's cut all this stuff off and see what we've got. If I don't knock my camera off, it's staying here. Sorry about that. Okay, got some of this stuff cut off. Let's see what we have. Okay. That looks good. What I'm going to do, let me pin this. I'm going to pin all this together. And I'm going to trim it up some more. Since I've got it laying back to back now, let's get it all trimmed up. Just make sure you don't cut your zipper here. Okay, I got it all trimmed up. Now what you need to do, and this is very important, you've got to open your zipper up now. Alrighty? And what you're going to do, we're going to pin this around to keep it where it needs to stay. Nothing's moving around. Let's put this one over here. Okay, and I'm going to zigzag all the way around the edge. All the way around. When you come up here, make sure this is closed like that. And zigzag over the zipper. All right? But the zipper needs to be opened, because if you have it over here, you won't be able to open it because you're fixing to sew over that with the zigzag. All right, I'm going to go do that and I'll be right back. We're almost finished. Hang out with me. Don't go anywhere. We can do this. Okay, got it all zigzagged all the way around. Okay, now what you're going to do is you're going to cut your zipper off right here along the edge, just like that. Let's do the other side here. Okay. Nice. Trim that up a little bit better here. All right. This is going to be so adorable. These project bags can be addicting. I may make another one. Maybe one a little bit larger so I can put more stuff in. But this is a nice size. So we're almost done. Now, let's get the bias tape. Gonna finish